Writer-director B. Sukumar is one of those rare Indian filmmakers who isn't really capable of making an all-out bad film. Known for crafting engaging and original films over the years, he is considered to be someone with immense control over his directorial craft. While Pushpa 1 wasn't really his best work so far, it had jaw-dropping ambition that mostly engaged you throughout its runtime, despite some minor issues. With Pushpa 2, however, the director presents a film that barely manages to be consistently watchable, let alone be consistently engaging or entertaining. I saw this film in one of the massiest single screens that I know of. The theatre erupted as soon as the first frame came on screen, but it didn't take long for the audience to become silent, and this stayed consistent for the majority of the film's runtime. Among all the things that Pushpa 2 could have been, I did not expect it to be the most bland, uninspired, and forgettable experiences of this year. The film isn't without its merits though. For the fans of director Sukumar's writing, the biggest silver lining would be how the film flips Pushpa 1's biggest demerit, the poorly etched out love story, into its strength in the sequel. The love story provides much needed comic relief and emotional heft in the film. This thankfully gives Rashmika a lot to play around with as an actor. As Srivalli, now married to Pushpa Raj, she owns every frame she's in, completely transforming into Srivalli. Allu Arjun, though, undoubtedly is the film's biggest asset. While he had already far exceeded the expectations in the previous film, earning a much-deserved national award for his portrayal, he takes it notches higher this time, portraying shades of the character beyond what the material provides. He's especially outstanding in the Jatra dance sequence and the fight sequence that follows. Not just the larger-than-life sequences, Allu Arjun is also extraordinary, portraying tender emotional moments, completely capturing the essence of the character. Shreyas Talpare as the voice of Pushpa Raj in the Hindi dub also does a much better job this time around. Now, while listening to the number of sequences, you must be thinking this is how such films are generally structured, right? Few elevation sequences spread across a runtime. And that is absolutely true. Generally, the narrative can have the most done-to-death plot as it is all just in service of the big action sequences. But the catch is, these big action sequences generally work when the narrative around the core plot leads to these sequences. Here lies Pushpa 2's fatal flaw. Both the Jatra sequence and the climax revolve around a very minor subplot that has absolutely no connection to the core plot of Pushpa 2. Hence, there is no emotional impact that these sequences leave on the audience beyond just witnessing Allu Arjun's performance. The core plot of the film, which is anyhow haphazardly constructed as if it was all an afterthought, is completely abandoned in service of these elevation moments. While the interval sequence seems to be one that will get the plot moving, the entire impact is diluted as the makers choose to turn the antagonist Bhavar Singh's role into an absolute caricature, reducing the impact of the promising antagonist from the original film. For a film that has Allu Arjun and Sri Leela in a dance number, arguably two of the best dancers in the country right now, it's embarrassing to see the kind of minimum effort that has been put into the choreography. While Rashmika puts her best foot forward in elevating the mediocre peelings, it's really in the choreography of Kisik where the absolute lack of quality control starts to show up. The song has the most juvenile movements. Yes, you heard me right, not steps, juvenile movements. It breaks your heart because Sri Leela and Allu Arjun together in a single frame calls for an absolute knockout of a choreography. But here, unfortunately, the makers don't even try. Also, for the kind of film Pushpa 2 wants to be, the introductory sequence of the hero is considered to be very crucial. However, here it is the most shabbily staged action sequence of the entire film, almost coming across as an afterthought. The fact that this scene has absolutely zero connection to anything that happens in Pushpa 1 or Pushpa 2 is the least of Pushpa 2's problems. The scenes that follow this introductory sequence, however, hold promise of what Pushpa 2 could have been. But alas, the film is so devoid of any form of quality that it is difficult to understand how such a talented team deemed it fit to release this version into the theatres. It's 3 hours and 21 minutes of one bad decision after another. The climax, though imaginative in its action choreography, primarily revolves around the abduction of a woman. It's 2024 and we till date have long wide shots depicting actual physical violence against women. There are multiple ways of generating dread among the audiences without actually showing even the bare minimum of it on screen. There are actually people out there who are defending the intro sequence, stating that it is actually a prelude to Pushpa 3. The intro sequence of Pushpa 2 being a prelude to Pushpa 3. That film is about to start shooting in 2028 or even further late. That means we are looking at a release date not before 2029. So you are saying a scene from that film has been added to this film as an intro sequence, never to be referenced again in this film. And you as an audience are defending this. Are you really okay with this? A sequel so highly anticipated, opening to huge numbers, despite poor songs in the promotional material, speaks volumes of the legacy of the first film. All the makers had to do was make half a decent film with better action sequences and a better central conflict in the film. But instead, we get a film with an alarming lack of quality in storytelling. This is a big budget sequel that's coming 3 years after the first film. The promotional material of this film were put out with editing issues, lyrics that should have never even been greenlit. This was a film that was announced as a 3D film. 3D shows were going houseful, and yet at the 11th hour, the 3D release was postponed because of production delays. The bar of commercial Indian cinema has never been lower.
श्रीवल्ली मेरी भाई को है। जब एक पति अपने भाई को की सुने तो क्या होता है? पूरी दुनिया को दिखाएगा।
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is @mm_by_USK. The links are in the description below as well. Like and share this video, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do it right away. See you soon with hopefully the review of a better film.